Hey there, toy collector friends and Transformers fans alike. Welcome back to the channel. I'm the time-traveling toy collector, and we are back looking at our final entry into the Transformers Legacy United Autobots Stand 5-pack, and that is Hound. Before we go any further, I know I've already taken us through Jazz, Sunstreaker, Trailbreaker and Wheeljack from this collection. And hopefully you've been able to have a look at those videos. If not, they are knocking about in the Autobot Stand playlist. But I was going to say, if you haven't yet, please just drop the video a like and also drop a subscription to the channel. It's absolutely free, it costs nothing, it is a no obligation, but it would make a huge impact on me and the channel as I struggle to get to my next key subscriber milestone. So I'd be really grateful. Anyway, that bit out of the way, let's look at the main event, which is Hound. Now, for many people, Hound is the reason they've picked this set up. Partially, that's the reason I picked the set up, but also because for me, it wasn't a major case of double dipping. I'm very aware that for a lot of people, these are, in the main, retools, redecos of pre-released figures, either through War for Cybertron or similar. Jazz being Studio Series 86, he was one of the first. So was it worth the double dip for those of you that did come back for more? To be honest, it's hard for me to comment because I don't have, as I've mentioned, those particular figures. But what we get here, and what I've heard from other reviewers who have had both sets of figures, it does sound like this is a definite step up in the majority of cases. I know there's been some controversy about whether or not Wheeljack is improved for being so clean looking, but what is pretty consistent is the use of the different plastics and the paint for the what would historically have been transparent plastic or translucent plastic around the windows, etc. So that seems to be a step up. For me, I really appreciate the the combination really of the toon accuracy as well as reflections of the toy accuracy. One of the reasons I came back to collecting Transformers, amongst other things, was the level of nostalgia that they demonstrated and they generated in me. And I have to say, as someone who never really collected the, if you like, baseline original Transformers figures, such as Sunstreaker, Wheeljack, etc., back in the 80s, these do key into how I remember the cartoon playing out, and also taking the aesthetic to one side. The work that my imagination used to do for the figures I did have has been replaced and upgraded by the engineering in these figures, and that's been pretty consistent across the set. So I'll probably do some sort of summary reflection on that, just sort of close down this particular range of explorations. But before all of that, let's take a look at this particular hero of the day, which is Hound. Hound, I believe, was originally going to be released as part of the Buzzworthy Bumblebee range, a Target exclusive in the US, not quite the same here in the UK, but for commercial reasons, I understand that was deemed not to be a project that was going to go ahead, and so instead Hound, who was going to come out, I believe, as a Buzzworthy Bumblebee Studio Series 86 element, much like they did with Cliff Jumper, which I missed and I'm very unhappy about. But I'm over it, I promise. That was going to be Hound's function. So I don't know whether we will ever see a Studio Series 86 Hound, or whether this is the only way to collect this figure. Certainly at the moment it is. But one wonders whether there'll be another need to double dip if we get a slightly different deco of this figure in the Studio 86 range down the line. And in that instance, I don't know how I'd feel about that. I love this figure, I love all the figures here, but he kind of does what a Studio Series 86 figure would need to do, so I don't know whether or not that would be something I would entertain. That said, I'm not ruling it out, I'm just not sure. So, with that said, let's take a look at this figure. I'm going to zoom in, if I can, a little bit more so we can get a nicer view of that face. And I think that head sculpt overall, that, you know, is really good. Let's keep going. I think that the facial sculpt work is really great. I love for all of these figures, as you'll know if you've been following the playlist. There's always dust and hair that gets on them imminently. I really love the detailing. I really love the paintwork that we do get. I mean, if some of this had been around in the 80s, I think our imagination would probably have been stifled by it, because it does so much work for us. So I'm kind of grateful in some respects that we don't have that. We didn't have that, but I'm so much more grateful that we do. It's a bit thin around the middle bit there. The back is, I mean, it's clean, but there's an awful, and I think this is the figure that does it the most. There's an awful lot of space here. And I get that these are going to become the seats and stuff, but the legs, we've got massive cavities here in the legs. This cavity here in the back. I don't know, I just feel a little bit like he could have been filled out a bit more. There's something that to me feels rushed about the production of this figure. I'm going to come out a bit just so we've got some breathing space, but not too far. The articulation, like with all of these figures, the articulation is great. He's quite stiff because he's quite new. I mean, I've not transformed him yet. But they are very photogenic, these figures, you know, and I'll have some photos sort of done for the back end of the video. So we know that they are all very, very photogenic. But for me, it's great. And it's a great representation of that figure from the past. And indeed, they all are, really. It has very recognisable features, again, they all have, that link directly to their Generation 1 counterparts. But with that modern day aesthetic in terms of articulation, in terms of engineering, and in terms of scaling, which I think is also really important. And, you know, I just get excited when Transformers these days have got, you know, separate legs. But that's probably just one of my weirdnesses. Anyway, I think as a figure, he looks tremendous. I haven't yet transformed him into Jeep mode. That's coming next. So without further ado, let's get him transformed into Jeep mode and see what he looks like. You know, and see what he looks like. Let's do it. So here we are with Hound all transformed up, or down, depending on your point of view, into his Jeep mode. And I have to say, I think of all of them, his was the most simplistic transformation I had to do. It was done in seconds, genuinely. There was no snagged bits, there was no clearance issues, there was nothing that caused me any problems at all. And I'm saying that because so often, this is one of the reasons I do, for those who don't know yet, I do the transformations off screen, is because I have an awful lot of anxiety that I'm going to break things, particularly expensive things like some of these figures. But I have to say, this was really easy. This was a really, really easy transformation, which also by extension made it a fun transformation, because I wasn't sitting panicking about, oh my goodness me, I'm going to break it, there's no clearance, it's too tight, blah, blah, blah. It did everything it was supposed to do, and so this already gets fantastic points from me. Hasn't always been the case, and if you've seen my video on Wheeljack, my issue of my copy of Wheeljack has a ridiculously tight joint in the waist on his hip, which means part of his transformation I thought it wasn't going to happen. Anyway, if you want to find out about that, watch the Wheeljack video. Otherwise, let's take a look at Hound. So Hound goes into a very compact Jeep. I didn't, as I say, have the G1, so I can't overly compare. We've got weapon storage, which is nice, a little bit on the nose, I suppose. And there's a hole here, which is unfortunate. I suppose it could be used for some sort of hooking up and pulling of something, but I've no idea what that would be. There are some sort of faux seats there behind the windscreen. Again, the windscreen is in that now blue painted plastic rather than anything transparent. The nice detailing, which of course was the chest, where we've got the grill, winchy type stuff. We've got storage elements on the side. So it's all very Jeepy. The back's a bit kind of open to, you know, the weather. So that's not the best look. So that's disappointing. But all in all, it gives me Jeep vibes. The underside is, again, relatively neat and tidy. The arms went in well. Often where you've got arms and legs that just tuck in, where it's not particularly superior or clever engineering, you end up with something that looks a bit like this. And you can see his visible head poking out there. Maybe you can. There it is. Hello. So yeah, so this is Hound. He does roll. He does roll again, as I pointed out before. They don't get a lot of traction on this, but he does. Trust me, he does roll. My issue, especially when I'm doing photography, is when you have things like these arms, because a couple of other recent Transformers have fallen into this trap. They are very, very close to dragging on the ground. The clearance between the end of the wheels and the arms is minimal. So if you're not on a flat surface, you're going to have trouble. So either you're going to start getting this scratched, or it's not going to roll, or it's going to start scratching the surface you're trying to roll it along, depending on how sturdy and robust it is. But that sort of minor quibble to one side, again, much like his robot form, Hound is a solid Jeep. It works, it's playable, it's photographable. Don't know why I made that a more complicated word than it needs to be. There are some additional storage ports which are carried forward from the robot mode. So all in all, it's a really nice figure, and one that I am really delighted to finally have in my collection. Will we see a Studio Series 86 version? Well, as mentioned earlier, who knows? I kind of wouldn't put it past Hasbro to bring out a single release of Hound after everyone's invested in the 5-pack. That's if people have. I understand some were investing in the 5-pack so that they could sell off individuals and just go for figures they couldn't get their hands on before, predominantly Hound. Is it a cheap trick that Hound was included in here to try and encourage people to repurchase figures that had gone before? I don't know, really. It seems like an odd strategy, because it was a bit of a high risk strategy, because this retailed at, I think it's something like 120-ish pounds. And if you take the individual figure value, then I think it equated to almost one of them being included free, or the significant individual price of each one being lowered by about £5 or something like that, £5, $5, whatever. So it's, so it sounds like, oh, it's a bit of a bargain, but actually, if you're only after one figure, then you're sort of spending £100 on 4 figures that you don't need, or don't want. So maybe there's value in resale for people who wanted to sell them on or pass them on to other collectors. I'm sure people will find ways to justify it for themselves. I was lucky. I didn't own, other than the Studio Series version of Jazz, I didn't have any of these from the previous iterations. So for me, it was a major win. And to be honest, I can tolerate having the 2 different types of Jazz in the collection. I can live with that, but I can appreciate why, when you're talking this sort of money, not everyone could tolerate that. And when you've already got Sunstreaker and Wheeljack and possibly Trailbreaker, the last thing you need to be doing is spending well over £100 for one figure that could cost you, between 25 and 30. It's a no-brainer. But if this isn't available in any other mechanism, then unfortunately, either you go for this or you wait to see what the scalpers online sell this for on its own. And you know what? It would probably be in line with the overall cost of the set. So, for me, speaking personally, as I say, I fully appreciate why other people would have a different take on this. But for me, speaking personally, this is a good deal. So I'm very happy with my Hound, and arguably the whole range. So as I say, I might do a little sort of closing summary video of the whole set, which I'll get out in the next week or two, or sooner if I get the chance. But yeah, I've really enjoyed these figures. I've really enjoyed having them getting them into the collection and looking at them in a bit of detail. And I particularly liked spending a bit of additional time on Hound, because I know he's the one that If you are interested in picking this up for Hound, I really wanted to give you an opportunity to see what he was like, both in robot mode and in Jeep mode. And if you hang on to the very end of the video, I'll also have I'll include some toy photography shots of Hound in both modes, so you can get a better look at him there as well. Folks, I don't know whether or not you think these belong in your collection, and I hope this video has helped you decide one way or the other. If that is the case, please do like the video as mentioned, and please drop a subscription to the video. As I say, it costs nothing and it really helps me reach my next milestone. I will be super pumped if you could do that. I have been the Triple TC, that's the Time Travelling Toy Collector. You have been a marvellous audience. Thank you so very much, spending the last nigh on 20 minutes with me. That's very kind. Please have a peruse around the channel. If you like Transformers, you might like Star Wars, you might like Doctor Who, Star Trek, G.I. Joe, Battlestar Galactica. Goodness me, there's all sorts of things going on. Have a little look around, you might see something else that you like. If not, I very much hope to see you in a future or indeed a past video. Take care, and remember that a thing of beauty really can be a toy forever. Bye-bye for now.